So hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome and welcome back here at BSN Network. Today we welcome you back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Wednesday, September 9th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I am. Hopefully you did as well. I know I did yesterday, and I'm having a good day so far today. It is Wednesday, September 9th. Exciting. Every day we get closer and closer to the start of the NFL season. We now stand at 1 day until the NFL season. Technically, no more days, because technically a lot of people don't count today. So technically, we have no more days into the NFL season. Tomorrow doesn't really count because the game's tomorrow. So technically, after today, tomorrow, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the NFL season, the 101st NFL season, unlike any other, will start up. And we'll be covering it all live right here on BSN Network. We'll be covering it all throughout the week. I'll be talking about tomorrow's game. I'll preview tomorrow's game. And also Miami plays tomorrow. That's another thing. I'm going to be talking about Miami tomorrow. They play their first game tomorrow. I'm going to have to balance it out. I'm going to probably watch the Thursday night game on my TV and then probably get Miami on my phone is probably what I'm going to do. So Chiefs, Texans tomorrow. Off day Friday, no, or technically not for me off day, but you follow what I'm saying. No football Friday, no football Saturday, football back on Sunday. So very exciting, very exciting. It almost seems like every single day gets closer and closer and closer. Every single day gets closer and closer and closer. I've always thought of, that Thursday night game. After that's done, you can already start looking forward to like Sunday. If you have that Thursday night game, and once you're done with the Thursday night game, you're like, oh, we're looking forward to Sunday. So I'm excited. Hopefully you are as well. Like I said, today, tomorrow, Friday, all that stuff will be packed with football news and stuff like that. So be prepared for a lot of football coming up on this podcast. Yankees yesterday lost again 2-1. J.A. Happ went out 6 1/3, absolutely threw a gem. Had an amazing game. Had one mistake that resulted in a 2-run home run. But hey, when you let up 2 runs, and your offense scores 1 run. I mean, it's not your fault. Happ pitched amazing. It's not his fault. That's why I don't care about win-loss record, because he pitched amazing yesterday and he still got handed the loss. So, that's why I don't care about win-loss record. There's some more proof for you. But all that being said, we'll get into the topics here. So, Jalen Ramsey, just another player to just sign a huge mega extension. He signs a 5-year extension worth $105 million, makes him the highest paid cornerback, I think, in the history. So he gets signed. And I have an interesting stat to show you all about all these players, some of the most recent players to get paid to make. I think these are the record-breaking deals just in this offseason. Then we have the NFL Power Rankings. It starts the Jets and the Giants. I'm not giving you mine. I will give you mine tomorrow. I'm going to give you mine tomorrow on Thursday. Even though only 2 teams play tomorrow, it's not fair if I do it on Friday and already have a team win one, because that could make me decide on who's better and stuff. So I'm going to put down tomorrow. I'm doing my power rankings. I'll give you my whole one. Probably my top 10 teams. I don't always do top 32. Probably my top 10 or top 15 teams. I'll run through them, tell you why I put them there, and that kind of stuff. And then we have the Yankees, Mets, and Islanders as well. No college football today or any big games that's worth talking about. So I'll turn that tomorrow. I'll talk about Miami and obviously the Texans and Chiefs game. So Yankees, Mets, and Islanders. Both Yankees and Mets lost yesterday. The Islanders try to bounce back from a horrible 8-2 loss in the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of sports on. Like I said yesterday, there's a ton of sports on. Great to have it back. And with all that being said, this is the BSN Arc podcast, and let's get right into it. So Rams signed Jalen Ramsey to an extension, reportedly making him highest paid cornerback at $105 million. $105 million. So it is a 5-year deal. Now, I know that title didn't say it, but it is a 5-year deal. And I'm mixed on this. I'm mixed. Like I said yesterday, and I've said in the past with players getting deals, I've said this multiple times. If you're good and you've proven yourself in this league, and you're a top player at your position, you're a good teammate, you're just an overall good dude, good player in the league, you can get you get that money. I won't disagree. Now, if you're in a situation, in my opinion, right, sports is a world of opinions. In my opinion, I don't think Budda Baker's all that good, and I don't think Joe Mixon's all that good. They got both paid insane deals. I disagree with those deals, both of them. I think Joe Mixon's overrated, and I think Budda Baker is way overrated. I mean, if you would have told me Budda Baker would have been the highest paid safety in the history of the league or whatever, I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. When you have some of these other safeties out there like a Jamal Adams, like a Minkah Fitzpatrick, players like that are very good at the safety position when they're on fire. Earl Thomas, before something got into his head, he could have been named one of the best safeties in the league. Now something's gone into his head, he's turned a little crazy, and I don't even want to put him on my top 5 list because I don't like to put head cases there. But what I'm trying to say is Jalen Ramsey's, he's a very good player. You can make the argument he's a top 3 cornerback in the league. Him and Boye, when they were with Jacksonville with the Jaguars and stuff, when that team was actually decent, they made the playoffs. They made that huge AFC Championship run that one year, ended up blowing that lead to Tom Brady, and the Patriots ended up going on to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. But obviously, what I'm trying to make my point here is with the Jalen Ramsey. When Jalen Ramsey's on and he's in a good position, a good team, a good playbook, good teammates, he's a very good player. Here's the one problem. He can at times be a little bit of a head case. At times he could be a little bumpy. At times it could be a little bumpy. The road's not always smooth with him. Sometimes it's a little bumpy. He could be driving. You could hit a little bit of a bump, another bump, maybe another bump. Okay, now it's smooth again. Maybe another bump. Every once in a while, it can get a little dicey with him. Just kind of how, not really, I don't want to say his attitude, just how he kind of plays the game. Sometimes I think he plays it with so much passion, where sometimes I think he just kind of gets ahead of himself and starts to argue with people in a way. Same thing with what he did in Jacksonville. That's kind of how the breakup happened between him and the Jaguars, right? He was there. He got injured, was kind of fighting with the head coach a little bit, wasn't really happy how they handled his injury, things like that. He can be a little dicey at times. That's why I think this 5-year, $105 million isn't a bad idea, but it could definitely be risky. Because if 2 years from now, he's only let's just say even this year, he gets a little dicey with maybe the coaching staff or even just the team in general, all of a sudden you're paying a guy 5-year, $105 million for him to be a head case on your team. So you just have to watch out. I'm not calling him I would take Jalen Ramsey over Earl Thomas any day. If you want to try to get a gauge, I'll take Jalen Ramsey over Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is just a bad teammate, bad player. I wouldn't so much say Jalen Ramsey is a bad teammate as much as I say sometimes I think he just loves the sport so much that sometimes he can get a little ahead of himself, and sometimes it could turn into where he gets into slight arguments. No, I don't want to be benched today. I feel healthy to go out there and play. Kind of your normal sports stuff. That is what's holding me back about giving this deal a crazy high grade. Because you just have to watch out. What happened in Jacksonville could very well happen in Los Angeles. I'm not joking when I say that. Jacksonville was a breakup, right? He was kind of injured, he was sitting the bench. He wanted to come back, and he was like, I don't even care. This team stinks anyway. Kind of just things like that. That could very well still happen with Los Angeles. Now, I think the Rams have a better coach, better front office. They would probably handle the situation better. I think Jacksonville kind of just took Ramsey and just said, hey, you can leave, but goodbye. I think Ramsey was perfectly fine with that because I think Ramsey was done with. I think it was a mutual. I hate you. I think both of them were kind of saying, Jalen Ramsey was saying to the Jaguars, I hate you, and the Jaguars were saying to Jalen Ramsey, I hate you too. It was kind of one of those things where they were kind of just mutual, yeah, you could leave, or I will leave. You're bad, I don't really care, I'll leave and join another team with an actual chance to win a championship. And, he joined the Rams, who were a chance to win a championship a couple years ago. This year, I wouldn't say they're a championship contender. I would say they're maybe second, third place, somewhere around there. Nothing crazy special involving the Rams, but I think they're an average team. I think they're better than the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are very well one of the worst teams in the league. I think their roster shows for it. So, like I said, I think in a way the Rams made the right decision here. Here's the one problem with this deal is also the fact that he's only been here for a little bit. He hasn't been with the Rams for too long. He's still he's only been here for a little bit. This is another thing I want to always say about contracts is when you're only there for a little bit and not too long, all of a sudden you get to yourself like, oh, let's give all this guy all this money, but he hasn't been with the team that long, right? It's not like he's been with this team for 4 or 5 years now. He's been with them for, a year and a half now? He hasn't been with the Rams as long as a lot of people, I think, expect and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a very good player. I mean, when he's on, you could name him the best cornerback in the league. I mean, there is almost times where he seems where if you're on him, if you're getting guarded by Jalen Ramsey, it's untouchable. It's just that there's just the 2 little gaps in this deal. That is Ramsey getting mad. Because and this is with any player. I wouldn't so much say, oh, this guy's a horrible dude just because of what I'm kind of saying on this podcast. I'm just kind of saying there can be times where he can be a little bit of a head case, is what I'm trying to say. There can be times where I think his head, his emotions take over, which is never what you want to have happen. His emotions take over, and sometimes that can cause a little bit of problems. It's nothing like a Earl Thomas where they had to kick him out of training camp, but there are definitely times where he can get into a little bit of blunders, maybe a little bit of scuffles with his team. Not like, fighting scuffles, meaning like a little bit of an argument with teammates and things like that. Nothing crazy, but in a way, you're talking an also highly skilled player. I would take Jalen Ramsey over Earl Thomas. First off, skill's better. Second off, I think Ramsey's a better teammate than Earl Thomas. I think Earl Thomas is almost turning into an Antonio Brown. I think he's crazy. There's something wrong with his head. And the way that he left that game against the Seahawks, too, when he flipped the Seahawks off, when he threw him the bird at the Seahawks, that was not acceptable. That was not acceptable at all. I know he was frustrated. I know he hated him. I know he was done with the team and all that stuff, but that's not acceptable. There's no place in sports for you to be doing that. That's why I would actually take Ramsey, because at least he didn't do that to the Jaguars. He kind of said, like, I'm done with you guys. Like, he kind of just said to the Jaguars, like, I'm done. So, anyway. But, like I said, I'm just... like I said, I'm just kind of in the middle with this deal. I think it's a good deal, but I think there's also a little bit of errors. I would give it a 70-30. 75, 80-20. So I'm going to give this deal like a B plus and a B plus A-ish. Somewhere around there, because I think it's like an 80% very good, but there's that 20% that could go wrong, and that is where his emotions take over. So, yeah. So let me just get this quick article up here, and we can get to it in just a second. So... All right, Rams signed Jalen Ramsey to extension, reportedly making him highest paid cornerback at $105 million. I think it's 80% very good about this deal. I think the 80% is you're getting at times the best cornerback in the league. You're getting a player that's very passionate for the sport. That's why I think sometimes the emotions take over, because he's very passionate. And I think sometimes when he gets angry, he almost starts to get to the point where like he's just so mentally frustrated that there's times where he does things. But anyway, the 20% is when the emotions take over and he can get a little iffy, choppy with the team. So anyway, before I read this article that I just got up here, contract records this offseason. So these are just some of the records contracts have broke. So there's been many contracts. I've said it multiple times on my podcast. Every single time a new contract pops up, it's almost like it's breaking records. And everybody's been saying, and I've said it multiple times on this podcast, in a year with a virus where the budget's low, you're losing a lot of revenue, the teams aren't getting much money to really give the players and stuff. For a year with everything going on, for all these players to be getting all these contracts, and not even just that, the fact that some of these players are signing huge deals with new teams in a year with a virus, and you're not going to see teams really trade much at a trade deadline. That's why even this year in baseball is a little bit of a quieter trade deadline, because, the whole traveling aspect during the virus, switching teams, making, things like that, it's a little harder with a virus around. So with all everything going on in the world, I'm so surprised this is the year to have all of these contracts signed. So these are some of just the records this offseason. So Patrick Mahomes, $45 million per year. So he's getting $45 million per year. So it's huge. I mean, it's absolutely ginormous. I mean, you're talking money that could just absolutely change you. $45 million per year. Christian McCaffrey, $16 million per year. Kittle, $15 million per year. Now, I highlighted these three players because I think all these three players are the best at their position. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I think McCaffrey's the best running back in the league. And I think Kittle's the best tight end in the league. So I highlighted these three positions. As for the other players, it's kind of up in the air. Laramie Tunsil, $22 million per year. He signed a huge deal with them. Joey Bosa, $27 million per year. I wouldn't say Bosa is the best defensive end in the league. I think Joey is definitely good. I think Nick might be slightly better. Jalen Ramsey, I said at times can be the best, but I wouldn't say at this very moment if he is the best. I think at times if he's in the right mindset and he's in the right zone, in the right defense, he can be nasty. So I wouldn't so much say he's the best at this very moment, but very well 1 week he could look like he's absolutely insane. So he's getting $21 million per year. Laramie Tunsil, you could definitely make the argument he's the best as well. I think Laramie Tunsil, I think this deal was a lot of money for him. I think he's very good, but I don't know if he's worth $21 million at $22 million a season. And I know you're talking a big job for Laramie Tunsil to be done. And that is save your quarterback, do things like that. You're talking a big deal. But, there's also things you also have to watch out that, sometimes giving these players these big contracts, it happens with a lot of these players. Sometimes they get these big contracts and they don't perform like everybody expected them to do. So the three players that are probably, in my opinion, the best at their position, I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I think McCaffrey is the best quarterback in the league, or running back in the league, sorry. And I think George Kittle is the best tight end in the league. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these contracts have been overpaid, but the list I just showed you here, I think all these are pretty good. I think if anything, Laramie Tunsil maybe just a bit, although he is an offensive line. So you're getting paid a lot to protect you're getting paid a lot for one of the most important positions in all of them in all of the NFL. And I've said this multiple times whenever I talk about sports. One of the most important positions in all of the football, defense and offense, is the offensive line. A quarterback, Tom Brady, so many quarterbacks out there, running backs even, they would not be anything without an offensive line. Tom Brady would not be one of the greatest of all time without an offensive line. It is one of the most important positions on the football field. They don't get the respect. When a player gets a big run, when a player gets a huge run, like let's just say Le'Veon Bell breaks out for a 25-yard run, everybody's going to be like, oh, that was a beautiful play by Le'Veon Bell. Nobody realizes that the offensive line was the reason he got that big run because it created the hole for him. So people don't realize that. But, when you're watching a game, you're like, oh, that was a beautiful run by Le'Veon Bell. Nobody takes notice to say, oh, that was actually a beautiful hole, drawn out for by the offensive line for Le'Veon Bell. That's why I think he's getting paid a lot of money, is because he's doing one of the most important jobs on all the football field. But I agree with mainly all these contracts, and I really wanted to highlight Mahomes, McCaffrey, and Kittle because they deserve that money because they are the best at their position. Mahomes, best quarterback, McCaffrey, best running back, Kittle, best tight end, and you can make the argument at all those. Kelsey's better than Mahomes. You can make arguments at all of these. Jackson's better than Mahomes. You can make the argument that, Barkley's better than McCaffrey. Kelsey's better than Kittle. I think Kittle's the best, McCaffrey's the best, and Mahomes is the best. So Rams signed Jalen Ramsey to extension, reportedly making him highest paid cornerback at $105 million. The Los Angeles Rams are making Jalen Ramsey the highest paid cornerback in league history with a 5-year, $105 million contract extension. The team announced the deal, and ESPN's Adam Schefter reported the contract numbers on Wednesday. Jalen Ramsey becomes the first defensive back in NFL history to sign a deal worth $100 million plus, and his $71.2 million at signing is the largest guarantee to a defensive back. The Rams get their playmaker on the back end, and Ramsey gets his payday. Adam Schefter also wrote, Jalen Ramsey and the Los Angeles Rams have agreed to terms on a massive extension that totally resets the cornerback market. The 5-year, $105 million extension averages $21 million per year and is the largest contract signed by a cornerback. Asked about the deal at David Malunga confirmed it, whatever. And I was talking to somebody this morning when this deal broke. It's kind of funny. They were like, 5 minutes ago, Tre'Davious White was the highest paid cornerback in all the league. And it's the truth. I feel like it's a game. I feel like we have the highest paid player. No, we have the highest paid player. No, I'm the highest paid player at this position. No, actually, I'm the highest paid player. I feel like it's a game. It started off like right here, then it got here, then it's here, then it's here, here, getting higher and higher and higher and higher. It's kind of funny. Like, I feel like it's a game. And that's what everybody's saying. Like, oh, you can't, like, I feel like deals are going to be even happening throughout the season. That's just how this offseason has went, I feel like. But it's just crazy. You know, just a couple, like 5 minutes ago, Tre'Davious White was the highest paid player in all the at a cornerback position, and then now Ramsey decides to be like, no, actually I am. Ramsey is the first defensive back to sign a deal worth at least $100 million per Schefter. It will reportedly pay him $71.2 million at signing, the largest guaranteed for a defensive back in NFL history. Rams signed Ramsey through 2025. The deal will keep the 25-year-old Ramsey in town through 2025 season. It averages $21 million per year. The Rams acquired the fifth-round cornerback in a trade with Jacksonville Jaguars last October. Jacksonville, which picked Ramsey fifth overall in the 2016 draft. Got back first-round picks in 2020 and 2021, and also a fourth-round selection in 2021. Ramsey had requested a trade following a Week 2 sideline argument with head coach Doug Marrone. He had 33 total tackles, 1 interception, and 4 pass breakups in 9 games with the Rams last season. It led to his third consecutive Pro Bowl selection and a third career spot in the NFL's top 100 players list. In his career, he has 243 total tackles, 213 solos, 10 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 49 breakups. And that's a picture of Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey reportedly agrees to a deal to stay in Los Angeles. It's a picture of Jalen Ramsey. I'm not going to show you it, though. But, yeah. So, Ramsey's getting some cash. Just another one of these huge deals. Huge deal. It is crazy how big some of these deals are. And like I said, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just like crazy. And I would not have expected in a year with a virus, in a year where the budget's lower, in a year where there's so much revenue loss, that these players would still be getting paid $100 million. I mean, you're talking in baseball, these players have to take pay cuts. And I agree with the pay cuts. But it's crazy. And that just goes to show you how much money the NFL has. Because the NFL has a ton of money. They have a ton of money from just TV sales revenue, blah, 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 fans, all that stuff. So they still have a lot of money. But Rams signed Jalen Ramsey to extension, reportedly making him highest paid cornerback at $105 million. I mean, you're talking about George Kittle, $15 million per season. That on here is last for like per year. For breaking at a position. I mean, Mahomes started the trend. $501 million. Let's see if I could actually read this in order. It went Mahomes, McCaffrey, Bosa, or was it No, it went Mahomes, McCaffrey, Tunsil, Kittle, Bosa, Ramsey. I'm pretty sure is how it went. And then Tre'Davious White was before Ramsey. Pretty sure of the record. So Mahomes, if you don't like, let's just say you don't like the deals or you like the trend that's going on with all these money, you can thank Mahomes because Mahomes started it off with a 100 or 501 million with 45 per year, only like 60 guaranteed. He started that off with the big 10 year. Then, players were like, oh, I got to follow behind this. And sure enough, they did. And there was other contracts on the side that maybe weren't record-breaking, but you look at, what are some other ones? I know there's a ton of them, right? Kelsey, you got Chris Jones. You got a ton more Keenan Allen. You have a crazy amount more. These are just some of them. I mean, these are probably the biggest. These are just some of the biggest contracts this season. And there was a lot more up in like the 25, 30 million range per, like there was a couple more up in like this 50 million range in like 10, 15 million a year. There's a lot more of those. It just doesn't break all these because these are all, the guarantees and stuff. But it is crazy. So another player hits the bank with another crazy amount of money, $105 million. I wish I could get paid that amount of money. I wish I could get paid $1 million. If you would tell me every year I'd make $1 million, I'd be perfectly satisfied with that. $1 million, I'd be perfectly satisfied with that. If you told me I would make $105 million. They're not. I mean, he's not making $105 million. He could, but he's making at least a 71.2. Because then you have your guarantees and your total, but then you also have your guarantees. So Rams, it's almost like a fresh start for the Rams, right? You still have Goff, you still have a couple of those other players. You got rid of one of your biggest names you're on the team in Todd Gurley. You still have Jalen Ramsey. You still have a couple good. You have Aaron Donald, a couple solid players here and there. You're in a new stadium. You're kind of almost like new uniforms. You're almost like officially like Los Angeles. It's almost like this is a year for the Rams. I think they just kind of start over, refresh, and be like, we are like this is it. Like just forget about the past couple of years. Like they've been kind of a wild couple of years. They make the crazy Super Bowl run that they did. They got moved to Los Angeles. They were playing in not their own stadium. Like it's gonna been like now they're set their own. They've got their stadium. They're now they've got their stadium. Well, they're sharing one, but still, you get what I'm saying. They got their stadium. They got new uniforms, a couple big contracts. Now I almost feel like it's like a fresh start for them. And I believe this is a team that could very well make the playoffs. If Ramsey plays well, Donald plays well, Aaron Donald, if he plays well, Ramsey plays well, if Goff plays well, if we see anything like Goff when they made the Super Bowl run, if any little bit of kind of Goff, they can be very good. You got Robert Woods still. You still got Tyler Higbee. You got Cooper Kupp. You have a lot of good players on this team. It's just kind of crazy. Sean McVay, who's a very good head coach. This is a team with a lot of skill. They just got to put it all together. So, Jalen Ramsey signing a huge contract. Coming up next, we got NFL Power Rankings. I'm not giving you mine, but the NFL has posted theirs. I'm going to tell you if I agree with them, disagree. Not going to say too much. Like I don't want to spoil too much because some of them I do disagree with. And I also kind of will give you a little bit of a hint tomorrow what I'm going to do with those. So NFL Week 1 Power Rankings. Chiefs start season at number 1 and look set for repeat Pats in unusual low spots. So these are just kind of some of the power rankings. These are new. Like I said, football. This is some football news. I always like to read the power rankings, and I'll give you mine the next day. So these are the power rankings. So these are, you know what power rankings are. I've done them a ton. I love power rankings because I like a lot of weird stuff in sports. I like power rankings because what you could do with power rankings is if you can kind of like judge it. Like, oh, at the beginning of the season, we thought these were top 5. This was a top 5 team. All of a sudden, you're looking at maybe that team being a bottom 20 team. Then you look at a team like maybe like a team that's on the borderline of maybe being like the worst to maybe like top. Maybe you're got a team that's like top, maybe in the 20 range, and all of a sudden they start making a run, and at the end of the year you find yourself being like, oh my gosh, this team's actually like a top 5 team, almost like the Niners last season. It is pretty fun. I like to usually like make my lists. I keep my lists and I pull it out maybe like the end of the season and see how much changed. I know my baseball list a ton has changed because I put the Nationals like the 4th best team, and they're now just playing just to spoil, as their season's pretty much toast, as they're probably not going to make the playoffs. So I know that was something that I put them like the 4th best team. They were probably like one of the worst teams this year. So it is pretty cool to see. It's also cool, but also a little bit embarrassing because you're like, did I really have this team as a top 5 team? And you realize they're like 20 games under 500 and they're like last in their division, and you're sitting there like, why in the world did I put these guys here again? So it is pretty cool, but I always like to just look at them too, just to follow them, see how teams are doing, what teams are going up, what teams are going down, what teams have some teams stay the same almost every year, like they stay in that same range. I know some teams are a top 10 almost every single year. They don't really move much within the top 10. They're kind of there. It's kind of how the Patriots has been for the last 15, 20 years. It's kind of been that top 5 spot for a while there. So the NFL Week 1 Power Rankings, Chiefs start on season at number 1 and look set for repeat. Pats in unusual low spot. Sure, the Patriots are not in a great spot. The last team to repeat as Super Bowl champions was the 2003-2004 New England Patriots, and only 7 teams have ever done so. Most of those coming before free agency. Yet, as we ready for Yeah, as we ready for that, for what should be one of the strangest seasons in NFL history, I think it's going to happen again. As improbable as this season, that might seem, the Kansas City Chiefs will win a second consecutive Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes will be even better. It will be even better as the quarterback this time around. It's a challenge to repeat. We know that. But it's a lot easier when you have the game's best player, Mahomes, playing the game's most important position. It helps that almost the entire roster is back, and Andy Reid is the same perfect coach to navigate the challenge of being the hunted in every game. As for the NFC champs, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. Of course, I am. I'm not. I'm personally not. This is this person, whoever they're saying it in first person. Picking the Packers has been something I've done for a long time. I'm just gonna say they, so then you don't get confused. And one of these days, they will be right. There is this idea that Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is on the decline. No way. Watch what he does this season. Green Bay was a bad defensive showing in its blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers away from getting to the Super Bowl last season. Some will say its 13-3 record was deceiving, but you are what you are in the NFL. The Packers were 13-3. Period. They won't get to that mark this season, but they will be close. And come playoff time, Rodgers will really show that he's still among the elite. So as we ready for the season to begin, the Chiefs open in the top spot in their power rankings with the Packers number 2. I can hear the groans already. It's so be it. Just print and save the batch of rankings, because come January they might just give you a good laugh. They usually do. So this is this dude's power rankings. I personally don't agree with every single thing that's on this list. As a matter of fact, I disagree with a lot. I don't believe the Packers are the second best team in the NFL, but it is what it is. So this is the power rankings. So the biggest movers for this year's power rankings on this guy's list was the Steelers went up 10 spots and the Vikings went down 6. So I'm just going to quickly read through the power rankings and then kind of tell you what I agree with and what I disagree with. You already know I don't agree with the Packers being a number 2 team in the league. So here we go. So Chiefs number 1, Packers number 2, Saints number 3, Niners number 4, Steelers number 5, Ravens number 6, Bills number 7, Eagles number 8, Buccaneers number 9, Seahawks number 10, Cowboys number 11, Colts number 12, Falcons number 13, Cardinals number 14, Broncos number 15, Chargers number 16, Titans number 17, Texans 18, Vikings number 19, Patriots number 20. They went down 3 spots. Rams number 21, Raiders number 22, Browns number 23, Lions number 24, Bengals number 25, Bears number 26, Giants number 27, Dolphins number 28, Jets number 29, Panthers number 30, Jaguars number 31, Washington football team number 32. So they have Washington football team, the Redskins, as the worst team in the NFL. I actually probably agree with that. Them and the Jaguars are close to probably being the worst. I'm actually surprised the Panthers are that far back. I would expect the Panthers are actually probably better than the Jets. And I think that the Bears are way better than the Bengals. The Lions are better than the Bengals. I would say the Rams are better than the Patriots, not the Vikings, though. I would say the Texans, I would say the Titans are better than the Chargers. Broncos better than the Cardinals. Broncos better than the Falcons. Broncos better than the Colts. I think the Broncos could very well be 12th. So New York sports teams, the Giants were number 27. They went up 3. The Jets were number 29. They went down 1. So the Jets are sitting 3rd to last. So I don't disagree because I just know how my Jets work. I've not missed the game in a long time. I think I have like a streak of so many years going where I have not missed a Jets game. So I know how they work. I know what happens to them every single year. So I'm not surprised that we're placed number 29th. Although I have heard a lot of locker room commotion around the Jets that a lot of the players are very angry at some of these rankings people are putting them. In this case, this dude putting them as the 29th best team in the NFL. I've heard even Joe Douglas say that these guys are, because everybody says that the Jets are punting on the season. I don't disagree with that because I think we punt every season. Every season it seems like we just stink. So I would hope that, and like I said, every year I hope we win the Super Bowl, but I don't foresee that happening in a while until we get a solid head coach, a solid receiving core, a solid, like, very, very good offensive line. Like, our offensive line's good now, but I want, like, even better. Until we get a couple of those additions, we're not a Super Bowl contender. We're not even close to a playoff contender, I believe. Maybe we're actually a little bit closer than we thought. But if you follow what I'm saying, it's like Joe Douglas has said multiple times, like, these players are angry. They're not happy with these predictions. Like, we think that we can go all the way. And the players have said, too, like, they're very angry with these predictions at being the 29th best team. Well, here's the problem. I mean, you could be so angry, but, I mean, the way you played the past 10 years, it kind of shows that you should be a number 29 team in the league. The Giants stand at number 27. They went up 3 spots. I honestly think the Giants are better than the Bengals. I think the Giants might be better than, slightly better than the Lions. I think the Giants could very well be, like, 26. They might be able to go up 1 spot. I don't know why they have the Bengals so high. They have the Bengals in front of the Bears. They have the Bengals in front of the Bears, in front of the Giants, in front of the Dolphins. I think every team there is better. The Jets, obviously, we don't know what the Jets, because we just know how the Jets work. They lost to the Bengals last year. But, I mean, I think the Bengals should very well be one of the worst teams in the league. I think the Giants are better than them. I think the Bears are better than them. I think the Dolphins are better than them. I think the Bengals should be where the Dolphins are right now, maybe like 28th. I don't know why the Dolphins are so high, and they dropped 2 spots, and they're still number 25. They were number 23. The Rams, I'm very surprised. I think the Rams are better than the Patriots. The Vikings dropped big time. The Vikings were 13. Now they're 19. They dropped 6 spots. Don't know why that is the case, but they dropped big. I think the Broncos move up 3. I agree with that. I think the Broncos are a solid team. I don't know why the Chargers are a top 7 or 16th best team in the league. I don't foresee that. I mean, I know they got a couple good players here, but they also they got a couple good players here and there, but I don't know. They lost their safety again to another foot injury, or to another leg injury. I think it's knee now. The Chargers were 21. Now they're 16th. So it is pretty crazy, but it is pretty crazy. I'm saying more so I disagree with most of these, I'm going to say more so that I disagree with most of these power rankings. I disagree with a lot of them. I'm going to sit here and tell you I disagree with probably the Packers being number 2. I disagree with the Steelers being a top 5 team. I disagree with the Eagles being where they're at. I think the Seahawks are way better than the Eagles. I think the Cowboys are better than the Eagles. I disagree why the Colts. Why in the world are the Colts a top 15 team in the league? Why are the Colts number 12? Don't understand that. I'm a little lost on why the Falcons are a top 15 team as well. Little lost there. Chargers, don't understand how they were one of the biggest movers. They moved up 5 spots. I don't know how the Chargers are in this list better than the Titans, better than the Texans, better than the Vikings. I don't know why that's the case. I think the Texans, Vikings, Titans are all better than the Chargers. I don't agree. I don't know why in the world the Bengals are number 25. The Bengals should very well be maybe right in front of the Jets at number 28 or even behind the Jets. The Panthers, I think, are better than the Jets. They might be better than the Jets, so the Jets could very well sit here at 30. The Redskins and the Jaguars, I don't really disagree with. I mean, the Redskins are horrible, and so are the Jaguars. No team, no offense, no defense. They're both horrible, so I don't really disagree with that. The Bears are in an interesting position. The Bears have been stuck at 26. I think the Bears are better than the Bengals. I think the Bears could very well at least be number 25. I don't think the Browns are all that good. I think the Browns are a little overhyped here, although he did put the Browns at number 23, so I shouldn't be complaining too much. I've had people last year in power rankings put the Browns as the top 10 team. I don't agree with that anywhere close. The Bills are in a very interesting position because you look at their roster, you look at what they did last season, they could very well be like, they could open some eyes and be like, this is a top 5 team. But then you realize who they're battling with, and that's the Chiefs, the Saints, the Niners, the Ravens, the Seahawks. And you're like, okay, I don't know if they're a top 5. I think the Bills are in a very good position. I think the Bills are very well a top 10 team. I would probably put the Bills in like this position too. I think he actually got the Bills right. He had the Bills at number 5. Now he puts them at number 7. I would say that I think the Bills are in a pretty good position. I think anywhere from like 6 to 8 is where probably the Bills stand in the NFL right now. I think the Bills are better than the Eagles. At this very moment, the Bills are better than the Buccaneers because we don't know what the Buccaneers are going to be. We haven't seen them play all together, so you can't say that the Buccaneers are better than the Bills because we haven't seen them play yet. I think the Bills are better than the Colts, better than the Falcons. Seahawks are probably better than the Bills. Eagles are worse than the Bills. I think the Bills are better than the Eagles. But I also think the Packers are not even in the top 5. I also think the Steelers are probably not even in the top 10. Maybe they're in the top 10. So I think the Bills definitely, that opens some room for the Bills to go up. If I had to choose 2 teams to leave the top 10 in this list, it would probably be the Eagles and the Steelers. And I would bring in the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Because the Buccaneers have a lot of talent. We haven't seen them play, but they have a lot of talent. So I might slip the Buccaneers in at like a 10 spot, if anything. I don't know if I wouldn't consider the Buccaneers like a 7. I think the Bills are in a pretty good spot. Ravens, I would definitely move up. Ravens are definitely going to move up on my list. The Packers are moving down. Steelers moving down. Niners are in an interesting position. It really all depends on what I do with the Ravens and the Saints. It will depend on where I put the Niners. I think the Niners on my list will probably stay put at 4. Or the Niners could very well go to 3. But I think the Saints, it might be slightly better than the Niners just because they have a little bit more depth. Ravens, I think, are up. I don't know why in the world. The Ravens were the number 2. He dropped them 4 slots for no reason. I don't know why. I don't think Earl Thomas, even if he's basing off of what Earl Thomas did, I don't think Earl Thomas is going to make that much of a difference without Earl Thomas. If anything, it's going to help him because you don't have a head case in the locker room. So there's definitely some things on here that I agree with. But other than that, I think all in all is decent. So, let me just go through this one more time. Let's just say, one more time. Like I said with the Bills, they're in a very interesting situation. You could put the Bills and be like, this is a team with the skill they have, a top 5, but then you look at what they've done the past couple of years, and you're like, I can't really put a team that hasn't really came close to even making the AFC Championship game at all, like number 3 team in the league, right? I mean, the Bills haven't completely proven themselves yet. I think that's why it's kind of tough to maybe put them top 5. I think they very well could be a top 5 team in the league, but like as for the Chiefs, they've proven themselves. They got there. The Saints have gotten there. They've gone 1 game away. The Niners have gone there already. The Ravens, we know they can do it. They just messed up. They failed last year, but we know they can do it. We definitely know they have this skill. We at least know they have the skill. It's just now it's taking that big step, and that's winning a playoff game. There's a couple teams on here. The Ravens have proven themselves. They've proven they can win a division. They've proven they can make the playoffs at a 14-2 record. The Bills have proven they can make the wild card and lose, but they haven't proven that they can really win a division yet, that they can completely get to that next level. So, it is what it is. And sure enough, the Ravens ended up realizing that Titans actually weren't a bad team after all because they really fought against the Chiefs. So, they ended up realizing the Titans went on the road, beat the Patriots, went on the road, beat the Ravens, and then they went on the road and almost beat the Chiefs. So, they realized that the Titans weren't that bad after all. So, I think there's definitely some teams on here that you could definitely change, and there's also some teams you could keep. But all in all, I think if I had to give this power ranking out of 10, I would give like a 5.56. I think there's definitely some errors on here. In my opinion, there's definitely some areas where I don't know what he was thinking, and there's also some areas that I'm like, I agree with. So, but I'll give you my power rankings tomorrow. It's either going to be top 10 or top 15 teams. So now we move on to the Yankees. So following last night's game, the Yankees just posted this. Following last night's game, the Yankees optioned outfielder Estevan Florial to the alternate site. Prior to tonight's game, the Yankees recalled right-handed pitcher Davy Garcia from the alternate site. So Davy Garcia is going to get the start tonight. We lost yesterday 2-1. I mean, Happ pitched phenomenal. We just only had, I think, 5 hits. Can't win with 5 hits and 1 run. It's going to be tough. Yankees had 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error. Blue Jays 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. A pretty non-interesting game. It was a pretty blatantly boring 2-1 Yankee game. It was nothing special. I mean, I watched it, but if you follow what I'm saying, there was not much action due to the Yankees' cold bats at the moment. LeMahieu went 1 for 5. Voit 1 for 5 with a run scored. Hicks 1 for 2 with a walk. Frazier 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Torres 0 for 3 with a walk. Talkman 0 for 2 with a RBI. Higashioka 0 for 1. Gardner 0 for 0. Sanchez 0 for 4. Sanchez did go 0 for 4, but at least he did not go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He had a line out to right field or left field. He had a strikeout and 2 ground balls to third. So at least he didn't strike out. At least he made contact, but still, Sanchez can't hit a ball in play, I guess. Still can't consistently get a ball in play. And Andujar has been playing so well lately. He went 2 for 4. Wade went 0 for 2 with 2 walks, and Ford went 0 for 1 as a pinch hit. J. Happ went 6 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. King went 1 2/3, no hits, no earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. Brand went 1 inning, no hits, no earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts. So, Yankees play today. I don't foresee us winning. Not that Davy Garcia is going to pitch bad. I think Davy Garcia will pitch well. I just think our bats just can't hit. We just can't hit, so it is what it is. Yesterday, I thought it would be that Happ just can't pitch, but Happ pitched very well. Bats were cold, so I think it's going to be the same thing, somewhere around the same thing tonight. I think Davy Garcia is going to give us a good start, but I very well think that our bats could be cold again. The Mets yesterday as well, they lost. They got beat up pretty badly. I think they lost like 11-1 yesterday against the Orioles. I did say the Orioles would win that game. I think I did. Steve Nash says Kyrie Irving is one of my favorite players of all time. Interesting. So the Mets had 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Orioles 11 runs, 14 hits, no errors. The Mets and the Yankees had almost identical nights last night, except give the Mets 1 less run and 1 less hits, and they literally had an identical night for the hitting side of the ball. McNeil went 2 for 3 with a run scored, a walk, and an RBI. J.D. Davis 0 for 4, Conforto 0 for 4, Todd Frazier went 1 for 4, Alonso 0 for 4, Marisnik 2 for 4 with a run scored, and an RBI. Jimenez 1 for 3, Ramos 0 for 3, Rosario 0 for 3. Walker pitched 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Gazelman 3 2/3, 6 hits, 6 earned, 2 walks, 1 strikeouts. Brad Brock 1 1/3, 1 hit, no earned, no walks, 4 strikeouts. So the Mets lose 11-2. I don't think they win tonight either. I think the Orioles are on a pretty good roll right now. I think the Orioles win. The Mets move to 19-24 in the season. Now we move to the Islanders Lightning tonight. After seeing that performance the other day, I don't really want to give the Islanders a win, because after I saw that performance the other day, that was horrible. It had to be one of the worst performances I've seen out of the Islanders all this playoff. I will give them the win, though, just because I'm giving them a ton of wins. I believe in the Islanders, so I'm going to say the Islanders win this game. Back to the Yankees. So, Yankees at Blue Jays. Tonight, we play again. This is a common theme where this is a common theme. Yankees lose once again 2-1. Like I said, I'm speechless. I'm kind of speechless at this point. I'm to the point where I don't know what to say, because I find whatever I say, it's just the Yankees don't do it. It's just to the point where I think the Yankees are just in a slump. And we're now sitting at 500. We lose tonight, we're under 500, people. We're talking about a team that started the season off 8-1. And we might be sitting here after tonight's game. 6:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. We're sitting here after tonight's game, possibly. We're sitting here after tonight's game, possibly under 500. Yes, it's only by 1 game, but we're still under 500. You're talking about a team that people say we have the best lineup in baseball. You're talking about a team that people just say is insane, you can't touch. Meanwhile, we're putting up 5 hits a game and 1 run. So, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm speechless. I'm to the point now where I just don't know what to say with the Yankees. Every day it's the same thing. I come on the podcast and I'm just like, oh, Yankees lose again. But I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because it's the same stuff. It's the same thing. Yankees bats fail again. Yankees bats fail again. Yankees bats fail again. It's to the point now where you're just like, the season, like, if we keep losing, we're not going to make the playoffs, period. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Tomorrow's podcast is going to be a lot of football. I'll still do Yankees, Mets, and Islanders, but tomorrow's podcast is going to be a lot of football. We got my power rankings. We got the prediction for the Yankees, or prediction for the Chiefs-Hurricanes game, or Chiefs-Hurricanes, there it is. Chiefs-Texans game. Then we have the Miami game, Yankees, Mets, and Islanders to cap it off. So, with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast. Tomorrow's a whole football day. Power rankings and all that good stuff coming up. Then I'll do the Chiefs-Texans game like that. Maybe some other power ranking as well. I might actually rank my division winners, maybe. I'll do my power rankings, then I'll give you my division winners. My prediction for my division winners. So, I'll give you that. But, yeah, tomorrow's my first game pick of the season. I already know who I'm going with. I'm not going to spoil it, but I already know who I'm picking. Not going to spoil it, though. But I do know who I'm going to pick. So, yeah, football's back. Football's back. By the way, this year I'll be keeping complete track of all my picks. So, I will be doing my week 1 picks, how I did on week 1, my overall record. And after this year, I'll pull that out and be like, this is my overall record for my game picks this season. And we can see how I did. So, hopefully, my goal is to go undefeated, get every single pick right. But, my goal is to get undefeated. Actually, I don't know if my goal is to go undefeated. It is to go undefeated, but that means a lot. That means the Jets are going to lose a lot. Because most of the times I predict the Jets to lose because I don't foresee us winning many games this season. Maybe 7 games. But I hope I go undefeated, obviously. Every year I hope I go undefeated with the picks. But, maybe undefeated because it depends on how the Jets are doing. But obviously you do hope you can get every single pick right. That's pretty good. But yeah, so I'll do all those picks. That happens on Friday, although tomorrow and Monday I'll do my Monday and picks, and same thing with Friday. Friday I'll do my whole NFL picks, and tomorrow will be my first pick of the season. So hopefully after tomorrow night I can be 1-0 on the season. So with all that being said, that will do it for the BSN podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Football starts for the NFL tomorrow. Exciting. We got a lot of big football pod tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.